Hello, everybody. Welcome to the summer 2022 4-week session of Music 104 Rock Music History and Appreciation. I am super glad that you are here. This welcome video is just to talk over some of the materials, some of what you need to know, the basic information about the class, to get you prepared for this session. To start off with, my name is Professor Cadman. I'm okay with you calling me that. I'm okay with you calling me Shane, which is my first name. Mr. Cadman is my dad. I don't have a doctorate, so Dr. Cadman wouldn't be ethical. But yeah, you can call me Shane or you can call me Professor Cadman, whatever you're comfortable with in terms of if you need to reach out, here in Canvas to talk to me. So I just wanted to set up the class and get you ready for what you are in store for. And then just an FYI, at the start of every week of these 4 weeks, there will be a video very similar to this where I discuss the materials of the week, set things up, let you know the things you're going to need to know, and then periodically throughout those little questions will pop up based on what I'm saying to you, that keeps you going, keeps you engaged, and is part of the assignment for the class. So what I want to do now is I want to go through and give you all the basic info. Most of this is going to either be in the syllabus or the assignment sheets, but I want to go over it this way as well so that we're all good. I do want to start off by saying this is a 4-week session of the class. That means that it is 16 weeks of material, a full semester's worth of material squeezed into 4 weeks. I sent out an email to y'all and two actually, and have mentioned that because it's really important to me that you understand what you are in for with this class. It can be a great class, but it's going to go fast. And it's important that you have a balanced schedule. So if you're working full time, for example, and you're taking this class, that might be a little too much because roughly you got to count on about 5 hours a module. You're going to be dealing with roughly 5 modules a week. So that's 25 hours of class on top of whatever else you're doing. If you're not working and you're not taking any other classes, you'll be good, but don't plan, hey, I'm going to go out all day, or really don't plan on a family vacation. I've had instances in the past where students have reached out to me and said, hey, I'm going to miss this whole week or these 2 weeks. Don't take the class then. I don't extend deadlines. I don't make exceptions for that because you knew what you were signing up for. So if you have any reservations at all, you could certainly reach out to me and say, hey, I'm not sure about this. And we can talk it through. But if you know that you are either very busy or you've got plans, this might not be the class to take. I am teaching this in the fall as a regular full semester 16-week class, much more measured in terms of the time. That may be a better way to go. There are always, first of all, sometimes people get into this class, they think, hey, history of rock and roll, that should be pretty easy. I like music. I know a lot about music. There's a lot of material in here going all the way back starting back in the mid 1800s, late 1800s, into blues, jazz, all sorts of things, ragtime. And so that we're going to cover a lot, and we're going to go up to about the mid 80s. I do that for a couple of reasons. One is it's kind of a neat way where the book breaks, but also there's no way to cover all the way up through now. And I address, people will say, well, what about, you only spend a couple minutes on this band or that band. This is a survey class. It's an overview of rock music history. It's really meant to give you a broad perspective of which you could always go and dig in deeper, elsewhere. Just for example, you could do a semester probably on Elvis alone, who is, just so you know, probably the single most important person in this class, individual person. You could easily do a semester on the Beatles alone, which, just so you know, is the most important band in the history of rock and popular music. And we'll get to why. I'm not always saying, when you hear me say that, I'm not setting you up. I'm not saying that they have to be your favorite band. I'm just telling you that they are important, and we'll get to why and all of that good stuff. Okay? So, this is this overview class, moves quickly. We're going to give you a broad sense of things, and then you can, like I said, always dig deeper. So this class is an asynchronous class, meaning that we do not have a meeting time. Now, I will be available, if you're watching this Sunday night or Monday, I will be available from 7 to 8 on Monday night on Zoom through this Canvas class. So what we call Confer Zoom in here. And I'll be available. It's not required. I'm just here hanging out in case you want to pop in, if you have any questions, if there's anything that you're unsure of, or you just want to say, hey, nice to meet you, and we can put faces to names and all that good stuff. That would be great. Okay, but it's asynchronous. So it's on your own time. You have to manage your time, measure your time out so that you can be successful in this. And there are things in the modules that help you with how to be successful. Go through everything in the welcome module that this is in. There's good stuff to learn in here as well, the orientation module, all of that. Okay. I have sent out to you an email, and I'll say it again. The materials in this class, both the online materials, the music, everything else, are very closely tied to this book, Rock Music Styles, 8th edition, Catherine Charlton. Can you pass this class without having the book? It will be tough. Because the answers that I'm looking for in the assignments are directly related to the material in the chapters. Can you use the 7th edition? Maybe. There are some subtle differences between 7 and 8, particularly as you move later in the book, but also some artists get included or excluded or whatever. I definitely would not go earlier than that. My recommendation is to rent the e-book for the course of this semester. That way, it's not necessarily anything you want to buy to have on your shelf. I'm all for going the most or the least expensive route that you can. So definitely you want this book. I have no stake in the book, but it is a really good book for this overview, and that's why I teach it along with it. That is really the only book you are required to read, and it's pretty easy reading. The chapters are not super long. When I was in college, it was not uncommon for me to have 3 to 6 books that I would have to be reading in a semester. With this one, you just got the one. I will also recommend on your syllabus, there is a suggested reading. Again, this is purely suggested. This pop, rock, and soul reader. A lot of great information in this book. Lots of great articles about a lot of the artists that we're going to talk about. So if you're a fan of rock music history, which I am, you can kind of tell by the bookshelf behind me. And all those books, by the way, are listed. Sometimes I get students that reach out and they want to know what books I've read or am reading or whatever. If you go into the very last module, it says Shane's reading or Shane's suggested reading. And these are just books that I've read that I really like. And you can do with that what you will. They're not in any specific order. They're not in order of subject or author. They just, as I read them, I stick them onto the bottom of the list. I put a couple at the top. But anyway, so if you're into this stuff, I recommend it. And it will help, but it's not required. So I'm just going to throw that up there on the shelf so y'all can see it. Okay. So this, as I said, is an overview of the class. It is basically covering from blues and jazz. I actually go a little bit earlier than that, through country, through rock and roll, which is different than rock, into the 60s, 70s, and into the early 80s. I am primarily looking into the foundations and formations of certain genres. So, for example, if I'm talking about, say, hard rock or heavy metal or rap, I'm really only focusing on where did they originate from, how did they originate, and who are the early bands. So I'm not going to take rap. You could do a whole semester just on the history of rap alone, and there are universities that have that. So I'm just like, where did it form? Why did it form? How did it form? And who are the important artists and songs. And understand that this is a survey class. It is rock music history and appreciation. So if you're like, oh, I don't really like taking history classes, you're in a history class, okay? So appreciate that. The cool thing about this is that the history is all linked to the music. Now, all of world history is important to understand, and all of world history is all intertwined with arts, culture, commerce, everything, so that sociology, psychology, it's all in there in the history of the world. So what this is going to do is you're going to see how the environment of a time can often have an impact on the music that is created in that time, and how and why it is made. And so you'll get all of that. In terms of class requirements, and again, I'm just kind of glancing off of this. This is in your, this is the syllabus. it's in there for you to find. So the requirements basically: watch the weekly announcement video. You're going to want to watch those ideal on Mondays, because the rest of the stuff doesn't unlock until you've gone through that video, and then they're going to unlock sequentially, because so much of this is impacted by what happened in the chapter before it, which is in the time that's before it. There's going to be embedded questions in those video assignments, so you want to answer those. They do count towards your grade. You're going to need to keep up on all the reading, the viewing in the modules. You want to do that. I'm going to say this now, and I will probably say this again, because this is a thing that I hammer on all the time. You are here for an education. You are not here, or should not be here, for a piece of paper. Okay? The piece of paper, somewhere in my garage, is my bachelor's degree and my master's degrees. The piece of paper doesn't matter. What matters is what I learned along the way, and how I can take everything that I've learned and apply that to my life. So you're in college or taking college classes. I know some of you may be high school students. Don't think of these classes and your education as something you have to get through, but something you, one, get to do, because not everybody in the world gets to do this, and two, that you are to learn from. So it is all connected. If you think about what has happened in the world in the last few years, between COVID, Black Lives Matter, all the things that are going on, this is not new. You're going to learn in this class that racial struggles are not new. The civil rights movement in the 1960s you would like to think that we learned what we needed to learn 50 years ago and we'd be good now. But here we are, relearning the same lessons. And these go back farther and farther. And as Shakespeare said, which came from the Bible, there's nothing new under the sun. So it's important. You may have heard this saying that those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it, and we're seeing some of that right now. We're seeing a lot of people out there that are energized, some for good causes, some for not, that are trying to impact and change the world, but they don't understand the world in which they live. And so some of this is like, hey guys, we've been here before. We tried this. Some of it is that they don't understand the broader context of what is going on. This class will help to fill in some of those things, as will many other classes that you take. You're going to have weekly assignments, written assignments. You're going to have a weekly class discussion, and you're going to have weekly written assignment, what I call a reflection observation, based on topic that I will give you, and it will be based upon what you've learned or what you know. This class moves so quickly that the assignments in week 2 will apply to week 1, but it's all important, and they're big parts of your grade, so you need to do that. You'll have quizzes for every chapter, so that means you'll have basically 5 quizzes a week. You will have 3 large tests that are drawing from the quizzes, and those large tests take place in weeks 2, 3, and 4. So again, remember, told you, this goes fast. You're also going to need to watch an online concert, rock, pop, hip hop, country, that kind of world, and then write a report about it. And all of this will be on there. You'll see this in your module, so you'll need to work on that. There are no late assignments accepted for this class. It moves fast. I think I've said that before. And you need to keep on top of everything in a timely fashion. So again, if you're foreseeing any potential issues, maybe it's not a good time. And that's totally fine. If COVID's taught us anything, and I think it's taught us a bunch of things, is that, it's important that we take care of ourselves mentally, physically, while we're doing things. I will also say, one of the things that I say a lot is that this is not a race, okay? Your education isn't a race. There's no reward for getting your degree at 20, 22, 24, 26, because what's on the other side of your degree? Work. And then that's kind of the rest of your life, right? So don't feel like you got to hurry up and go fast through this. So the syllabus will show you how each week breaks down. The syllabus will show you the points of everything. It'll go over the outcomes. Absence drop policy, again, with this class moving so fast, if you're not active in week 1, I'm dropping you. But you've got to be quick on top of this. If you're struggling and you're not sure you can finish it, it's better to drop it. Don't wait for me to do it. Don't assume that I will do it. because it's an online class, participation and attendance are basically kind of the same thing. If you have any verifiable disabilities that need any sort of accommodations, I need to know that ASAP, because quizzes are already set up. Again, this moves quickly. Okay. That's that. I think I talked about the different assignments, so that is good. I showed you the books that you need to know. And if you need to reach out to me, the best way to do it is through Canvas. Use the inbox in Canvas. There is, I think, one extra credit assignment in the beginning. That'll probably be the only extra credit assignment. So yeah, then I will be posting another video that will have that will lead you into week one. So it'll say welcome to week one, and then you will go in there. I'm gonna try to do this quickly. It's a fast class and we cover a lot, so I need to get in there and make sure that I'm covering things. There is a page in one of the modules, I think in this section, on how to be successful in this class. I recommend that you read the materials, go through everything, read it again. You really, again, want to learn, think about it, apply. If questions come up on assignments and you're not sure what I'm asking, please reach out to me and I will help to clarify that. I won't necessarily review your answer, but if you're like, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be this or it's supposed to be that, but put the effort in. I guess one more thing too that I want to say is when it comes to grades, I think sometimes people feel like if they do the minimum work, they should get an A. And that's not the case. The minimum work, if you do a minimum job on the minimum work, you pass that, you should get a C. That's minimum. Okay. If you want to earn a B or an A in this class, which by the way, totally doable, you got to put in extra work. So for example, if I give you an assignment and I say, oh, there's a 250 count word minimum, or for your report, which is 1250 count words, and you come in at 1251 because you're more concerned with counting words than content, you might only get a C. And so you have to just be okay with that and just be like, all right, I did the minimum and that's fair. If you want to earn the A or a B, you got to put in extra work. So think about ahead of time, what grade do you want in this class? How much time are you willing to put in? How much effort are you willing to put in to earn that grade? And grades are earned. They're not given. So that's just so you can be realistic with yourself. And you go, you know what? Totally cool with the C in this class. I just want to pass it and get a C. And that's fine. When I was in college, biology wasn't my thing. Still not really my thing, although I find it interesting and fascinating. I was totally okay with getting a C in biology because I wasn't planning on being a biologist. So you may be okay with that. You may be one of those who's like, nope, I want to learn it and fully understand it and I want to get an A. That's great. If you're thinking, I want an A because I want the best GPA that I can get, that's great. I will tell you that unless you plan on going to graduate school, your college GPA doesn't matter for anything else ever. No one will ever ask you again after college what your GPA was. They won't care. You may have heard the saying, C's get degrees. Once you have the degree in your hand, then you did it. So whether you got that with a 2.0 or you got it with a 4.0, at the end, that no one's ever going to ask again. It doesn't go on your resume. Nobody really cares. So what matters? Why do we get an education? What we learn is what matters. So yeah, you want to take the time. Oh, one more thing. Almost forgot about this. If you don't have a Spotify account, sign up for one because you're going to need it for this class. There is a free version of Spotify. I personally recommend the paid one because one, you don't get ads, and two, more importantly, artists get paid better for that. But there's going to be a lot of listening in this class. There's a playlist made for every chapter. And so you want to listen to the music. I recommend putting that music on so that you can get a sense of the world that music. Don't just even assume that you know it, even if you think you do or you do. Take the time, take the energy and the effort to listen to the music, to enjoy it. Ultimately, that's what this class is about. It is about the music and the people that made it. A lot of great stuff in there. Great time to add to your mental database of music you know and love. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to call it there. We're at about 20 minutes, just about. That's a long time, but that sets up the whole class for you. Be forewarned that all the videos going forward are probably going to be similar to that because we're going so quickly That's it. Have a great class. I'm really glad that you're here, and I think we'll have a lot of fun.